This is the things you might not have heard broadcast coming to you for the 2nd of December in 2025. Yes, it is now 3 days till Christmas because 25 minus 2 is 23. Don't mess that up. And today we're going to give you 8 news stories from all over the place that you guys deemed are conversational. These may not be much of a theme on the day. Yeah, that guy's there. If you're watching the video, you see that guy. He's always Plus, we have, like I said, 8 stories you guys have picked out as not just right off the top rundown, because some of them are a bit obscure, to be honest, on the day, but they do fit the bill of things you might not have heard. You might not have heard all of these. Some of these stories for today include some interesting one, including a tick to maybe push a new way for Japan to secession since their princess is more popular and they're kinda out of princes. Also, Trump was talking about his MRI, which has nothing to do with his mental acuity scan because he had that test with his camera and dogs and puppies and things like that. Of course, the real ID, you, because we are Americans and we can't actually hit deadlines, we have a pass. Because we are Americans, we can't hit deadlines. By the way, you can stop by and see these stories and help us pick them for things like this by going to our website. This is a conversation and looking for us at various places to find us. We're on YouTube, we're on X, we're on Facebook. That's where our feeds are, the final two, which you can vote up stories for these videos and hot takes. You can also stop by our website and visit our partnership page and stop by and talk about our sponsors, all our sponsors actually. Spotlight sponsor today will still be the project I really, really want you guys to get involved in, which is History is Every Day at historieseveryday.com. Right now, news stories. We're taking too much time in the chatter. Let's get into the chatter, if you will. Going to the news stories for this day, the 12th month, second day, 23 days to Christmas in 2020. Donald Trump's been talking about this story for a little while. This is his MRI scan that he had in October. So that's where we get sort of squirrely, like, oh, I had MRI. We'll release it a while. We had it in October. We could just released it then. It included cardiovascular and abdominal imaging with staff removing the disclosure as routine transparency after some online speculation. Online speculation was that Trump was going nuts and he had some going on. The real issue about this, as Trump sort of talked about it, is he kept saying he didn't really know why they were doing it, didn't know what the target was. They just, no, let's have an MRI. Okay, good, let's do that. Not about my mental health because I can talk about camera, puppies, and all those things like that. Oh, yeah, we're doing that bit again. But officials did not cite some incident to say why we're having it. We don't really know why he had a scan, but he had it in October that we knew about until we did, and now we know the details. So, the basic information is being released. They're avoiding any overinterpretation, basically all things were vague. Remember, Donald Trump is very old. He's the oldest living president who's being president. He was elected the oldest president in his last time because the older guy, the other guy who was even older than him, dropped out of the race after being the oldest living president. It is what it is. When you get to your high 70s, early 80s, you start to lose things. And even if you're a vigorous guy, even 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 20 years ago, you just start losing that fastball. And we're starting to see some of that from going on. And a lot of things are going to a bit of a imaging issue. Donald Trump happens to be kind of a family guy, which is perceived. Problem is, Father Time is undefeated. Even Tom Brady had to sit his ass down and stop playing football because he realized he got tired of all the stuff. So Donald Trump will have to sometimes sit down and give up his fastball because he's going to have to. Or will he? Laugh, laugh, laugh. Meanwhile, White House is moving the blame and it given to an admiral ordering the follow-on strike that suspected drug vote means it's not lawful. That's a very long and kind of convoluted headline, but we're going back to one of the earlier strikes on the boats. Here is the actual write-up per the robot editor. So that the White House says that Navy Admiral, Vice Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley, got to put those in there, ordered a second strike in the September Caribbean operation that called the action lawful under Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's authorization. What this does is says that Pete Hegseth is not the man who decided to shoot at survivors of a first strike. it was the Admiral in the area. Bipartisan critics are want to strike the rules and gave a briefing for this particularly classified kill station plan. Soon, we'll see how many people actually get involved in this session and what actually gets said. Pump Trump is pumping the brakes and publicly distancing himself from anything involving the stuff other than the warriors that are doing it are being his warriors, but other people are actually saying the words. The Pentagon reiterated the mission was compiled with U.S. international law. It was done in international waters. We have the right because we are at a war with drug folks in Venezuela. So if you got that understanding, Pete Hegseth's had a mission started that is bombing drug boats in the Caribbean. In this particular case, there were survivors, and the second strike was ordered to make sure that no one survived the attack, no one could be captured, no one could say what happened, and blaming it on the admiral in the area, not the Pentagon himself, being Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, and not Donald Trump, so other than his warriors are doing great things. All makes sense? Everybody got that covered? Thank you, Carolyn Levitt. Meanwhile, there's a new report card among current and former agents that's, of course, not exactly written by the FBI, that is slamming the FBI and its leadership and calls it a rudderless ship, criticizing Kash Patel and Bongino, the director, deputy director, for their performative media habits, essentially playing up for social media and cameras, not actually getting any work done. This document is amplifying some very conservative outlets, so it's not exactly AOC throwing flames, but it's the New York Post, if you will. Reflects a growing movement alongside folks inside and folks who've been around there that says an official review is needed because the FBI just ain't getting stuff done. So advocacy groups are driving the critique, but obviously it's something you need to keep an eye on that. So it's not an inspector general finding, it's not something inside the administration, inside the government, because they think they're doing fine, or at least they're telling us they think they're doing fine. Meantime, Kash Patel, we have rumors that he could not leave the plane when at various spots until someone got him an FBI jacket that didn't bring his jacket with him. Dan Bongino, who has been called basically a nut, is still ruling the roost in the FBI, doing things that aren't getting anything done and making complete asses of themselves, which is pretty obvious. We didn't need a report for that, but it sort of helps that people who actually are attached to the FBI or were attached to the FBI actually see these things. So it's not just us thinking crazy. It's people who actually know how things work, seeing and telling us things aren't actually working. The TSA is going to help a brother out because I don't have my real ID and my piece is someplace. My birth certificate's over here. My other paperwork's over there. I don't know. I'm do. I need a heart attack. I got things going on in my life. But TSA is introducing a new $45 fee in February for travelers who show up without their real IDs. It's going to take a little work, but starting in the 1st of February in 2026. So I can count the date for that one, but it's coming. Travelers 18 and older will get a chance without real ID to actually board their planes, except an ID that will be suitable. I paid $45 for the privilege because the checkpoint, a little bit of extra scanning, up to 30 minutes or so delay for extra scanning, and to make sure that person is that person. Agency actually had it pegged at $18, but then realized they needed a little more cash to deal with cash. It's more expensive, more time consuming, more work than it would be, so they upped the price. You know what? As a person thinking about upgrades, I'm down with a $45 price. Walk around without my ID because it's pain. I got things going on. It's happening. So, accepted alternatives are your passport, your IDs, digital IDs, and at up to 250 plus airports around the nation. And make sure you can see what your ID looks like. So essentially, airports and airlines will have to have explainers to explain exactly what you can bring on, what you can bring on, what's going to make things go through, how to do things. People get panicked at the last minute. But this is a lifeline. I'm not sure it's going to be a official long lifeline, but for a moment, for some period of time, although it's going to take a bit to get ready, the real ID is going to be, let's see, optional. It would help if you had it. Time and at $45, but hey, we're Americans. We just like to get stuff done. We are getting today done, which is a bit of a surprise, mystery, and a bit of a blessing, if you will. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show for and being a part of the conversation in general. We need your assistance. We need your guidance. We need you a part of this. We need you to help us grow these videos here. We have seen very, very steady growth in the YouTube videos where we're keeping an eye on things. And we've seen a lot of people joining in on the Facebook page and X page to give us more details. But we still need more. We're still a small channel. I'm looking to my list of my numbers right there. 2,700 and 710 viewers per says that little number, maybe 11, 12. So cut it off. But we're under 3,000 people. We're hoping to hit 4,000 this year. We're not going to, but hey, we're glad to hit that hit that 2,700 on its own. Help us grow, help us maintain, help us be a bigger channel, help us have more word out to other folks, help us have a bigger platform so we can really compete with some of those mid-sized, larger size channels. Simple. Like, share, subscribe. Like the video you're watching right here. Share it with like-minded people if you know people who enjoy it. And if you're not getting this natively in the feed, subscribe to it so you see that. You may get it shared to you via the algorithms because it's not likes. You may get it shared to you from like-minded people because they think you like it. Subscribe so we have people in the tally to make it work. Whether it's here on YouTube, it's awesome. Also on Facebook and X, we can engage in the feed. Also on TikTok, where we do the hot takes as well. Our newsletter, all the things out there, as many things as you can, as many things as you can stand. We're not even asking for notifications, things go buzzing because I had those things buzzes on my phone as well. I don't have my work notifications on. I basically check when I need to check it. Go when you check it. We are there for you, whether it's live, like right now, in theory, because I'm saying this live on the air at 5, but replay, we just want you to be a part of our show. Luigi Mangione is a part of the show. He's part of what's going on, and we're going to talk a lot about him as things go on. But we may have less facts. Talk about him as he returned to court yesterday. The defense is pushing to exclude some evidence that may help him from the case. In the United Healthcare CEO slaying case for Luigi Mangione, who is right now the alleged shooter, this team has moved evidence that is core to movement that could actually hold back issues and maybe save his life and save his time. Prosecutors are previewing fluorescence and digital exhibits. Defense is challenging collection of the chain of custody. The big thing they're looking to out of the public eye and the eyes of the actual court is what really went down when he was captured at McDonald's a few days later, how that went down. Basically, lawyers say that he was not properly Mirandaized when he started talking, and so he did not have, he was not told straight out of his right to remain silent. He gave himself up without having the legal pieces in place, which could make that arrest invalid and help off of charges. Judge signaled the rulings will come after traditional briefs going back and forth. The trial date has been announced as of yet. As right now, it's just a matter of both sides trying to, be positioned to make things work, especially as the defense always to get its defendants off the case. That may mean a whole lot of movement to make sure the case itself is not solid. And we'll probably have that big perp walk with Eric Adams walking in slow motion behind other cops and throwing that as well, being a bit excessive. We will definitely see how this one plays out because this is one that we all care about. Some of us, for reasons a bit less benign than others. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players in the world. Michael Jordan is also a very, very complicated person as a person. But this is a deal that's about business. It's about business. Michael Jordan will cut somebody quickly. That's what's happening. The legal battle. NASCAR is moving to court in the case that can actually reshape all of motorsports. The 23XI Racing, that's Jordan's racing team, and Front Row Motorsports accused NASCAR of anti-competitive control over charters and media revenue. The trial could pressure the business model to essentially open up the books and let the money flow to more people. The dispute centers on how the team's value is created and capped under NASCAR's current charter system. Teams want more predictable revenue sharing. NASCAR warns that blowing up the system threatens a series stability. The old guard doesn't want to change things, and new guys want a little more piece of cheddar. You know how these things work. So The charters are like NFL franchises, minus any guarantees for local rights. If you have a franchise in a city, you own all that city, you can make all the money off that city you want to, and you share in the national rights going forward. NASCAR, they all travel. There's all travel teams. So this actual revenue is made by stadiums, made by the racetracks, made by NASCAR itself, to share with the players, the teams that show up. Teams would like more of a fairer shot up front. And Michael Jordan, a man who will press these things until everybody is tired of seeing him and press them more, is wants to make this thing happen. Cycle for sponsorship. Make way for a new way as Princess Aiko's rising popularity, Eco's rising popularity, is for a new call to actually reform Japan's male succession law. The new princess is 24 years old, and the public welcomes her as the emperor's only child is spotlighting the imperial household's male-only succession rules. Right now, polling and press pieces argue that a modern monarchy should reflect modern demographics. Conservatives warn of precedent changing things like NASCAR. You don't want to change these rules because then all sort of chaos. We got to let you win becomes an issue. So the legal change require a diet prior reform talks actually stalled on this in the past, but the surge of support is growing. More people are involved in this. More people like the idea of bringing in the princess as the next emperor of Japan because they love her and they don't have to do any wrangling and find some dude somewhere down the line and say, okay, you're in charge, and kicking the princess out of what should be a line of secession. History is sort of a downer when it comes to things like this because secession is meant to be fairly simple. And back in the days when the emperor actually emperored, it was a thing. It made a big deal that the person of blood lineage and lineage was there to control things. And in some cases where they didn't, you had to marry someone else of another kingdom to make sure that a strong male heir could keep things going. We don't do that anymore. Don't have to anymore. Right now, it's literally just ceremonial. So why can't Princess Akiko be in charge? The emperor's man. Why not? We will see if tradition or if the newer ways will prevail. A very interesting story that popped up sort of into the needs, and this one may not have the biggest coverage going forward, but it's something that my person who works in education that could use this money and how things are kind of happening on the other side. Department of Education and the government and many places are losing their actual funding, losing their actual just general sense of commitment, if you will, and how other folks are stepping up. An anonymous $50 million donation will cover tuition for the University of Washington on medical lab students. Anonymous donation, $50 million plus dollars, 2/4 of tuition for UW laboratory science seniors for about 50 years. Gift targets clinical rotation orders when students can't work, easing a pipeline for bottlenecks and the labs. With this small donation, $50 million, probably larger than you and I in a sense. The smallest donation is McKinsey, Scott just throwing out money to HBCUs. Like this chunk of money will help grow this program capacity for both to set about 70 to 100 more students next decade. UW framed the donation as a workforce infrastructure a grant, not just student aid and smart narratives for legislators and partners. It's not saying, hey, we just got some money from whatever. It's actually infrastructure into the workforce of the people working. So they'll have to work for it. They won't just get money paid straight out forward to basically shoot off anybody who's thinking this is just some random donation. So there's eligibility, there'll be the timing of it, people that are in these classes, whether out-of-state students can qualify as well, those questions will have in the process. It's all a big batch of work to be done. But right now, a bit of a lifeline for University of Washington medical students, which is definitely needed right now in these times for education. In these times of information and education, history is always a good thing to go to. And we have a way for you to get directly by going to our website history is every day. Pretty awesome. Pretty good. I'm impressed by it because I actually write it every day. Me and the internets and some chat GPT going through some sifting of history lessons. And you can get some great things going on every single day. Go to the website, historieseveryday.com, and sign up for basically the pieces of the trilogy that is our history lessons. One, the email newsletter or the website actually every single day at 3:30. We give you 12 history lessons, 12 things that happened on this day, along with 6 or 7 people who were born in the day, and then 6 or 7 people who died in this day. References for your history. It is. You can also get this in a quick version by going to your Google machine and pulling it up on your YouTube. We have a podcast audio because it does that called This Day in History, where it's a video podcast. See it, and you get 3 of those history lessons, 3 of those births, 2 of those deaths, and of course, it is also a way to check out some of the longer takes we do when we get a chance to do those. We'll get back to those very soon. I have a couple of big ones that we've written so to produce and more things happen. The odd thing is all the crazy that's happening in here like right now, like government shutdowns. The crazy has lessened, so less of a sort of a shock value stories throughout there. So we've had less of those to do, but we're gonna get back to our history takes as well on the history YouTube channel all that one. So go to our website and find links to all those things. Also subscribe to our email newsletter so you get it straight in your email box. You can read it off your phone on the way to work. When you're not driving. If you're driving, wait to work. All that is there at historyiseveryday.com. Costs you very little time, some effort, and maybe some of our sponsors. Maybe, to get history in your inbox every. So what we have is the ways to find and get a hold of us, and that's simple. Our website, one more time. This is conversationproject.com. Email address, chat with us on all the things at conversationbox.com. And of course, Facebook and X are the feeds. You can follow us there as well as on YouTube, where you can join in as a YouTube member as long as our partnership as well. Quick sort of side, the membership on YouTube is $1 less per tier than is the partnership via Buy Me Coffee. That means something. You save $1 out of your pocket. We get some money to grow these things here. Stopping my sponsors and as well also helps. Today, this edition has been for Tuesday, December the 2nd. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. I thank you so much for being a part of us, what we do here for the Conversation Project. If you popped in live and sent us some comments, I appreciate it. Go real time because of the delay going forward, I can't see it in real time. So we're going to work on that one. We're going to work on that one. But we're glad to have you here with us here. We missed yesterday, and yesterday was just a crazy long week. So just overstuffed, not getting to it. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to get you 5 days a week going forward on a consistent basis because that's what you guys are paying for. And for this week to get you back into the groove of things, even though it's Christmas. And it's 23 days till Christmas because remind you that because somebody's going to screw it up. Meanwhile, love you, mean it. We're going to do this again, hopefully, with all its glory and its majesty. Yeah, I'm stretching. We'll be back tomorrow. We surely hope so.